Hi, Steve.
Hi, Gail.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are your computer woes going?
Well, I'm using Janet's computer, so
I noticed.
yeah, yeah. It's at least I've got the data off
Oh, good.
my computer.
Good.
Other than emails, which I'm still working on. So
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious, something I'd been thought of asking about from time to time. You know, the majority of the people on our committee are Mac users. And you and I are a couple of the Windows people.
Yep.
Every time I buy a computer, I go through this, should I go with a Mac? I never have, although this is Janet's MacBook that I'm using. So I was just curious, you're a person who uses a lot of technology. What drove your choice?
I am just so much more familiar with them. And if something goes wrong in a Mac, I can't fix it. And it would probably take me 2 years to become as proficient. But I just understand how Windows machines work. If something goes wrong, I can usually troubleshoot it. Where I sit down in front of a Mac and I'm like, how do I get to the preferences? Where, how do I install a printer? Where does this happen? Where does that happen? And again, I could learn it, but it's just not, not something I can do. And also I have, I don't know, $4,000 worth of software for Windows. So I'd have to do that. And my, the company I work for is all Windows 2. So not, it cross-platform, it could work, but I find there are just more problems with it, because there's very few corporations still that are Mac based. So all those reasons are mine for,
Yeah, I understand. Janet got this MacBook, and it's a beautiful little piece of hardware. It's
they are beautiful.
yeah, it's very well, runs very well. But I said something about getting a Mac, and Janet said, I think you'd hate it. Because she says, I can't find my files, because every computer she's had prior to this was Windows.
Yeah.
And she still has a Windows desktop computer, which I'm working between this laptop and her desktop. And I know the Windows file system perfectly. I did lots of file systems before I ever had a computer. And so I think in an organized, structured file system way. And so folders and subfolders, that's the way I think anyway. And so Windows, yeah, I have my file system set up on Windows, and I understand it perfectly. And Janice says, yeah, you can't find things easily on the Mac the way you do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm about to do an upgrade myself, and I'm gonna go with a Windows again. Yeah, I just prefer them. And you can get a lot more for less, honestly. Like if you're gonna buy the equivalent of the memory and the speed, the processor and all of that, and you do take a little bit of hit on the graphics, but I'm not doing high level graphics design. I just need a good screen that doesn't produce eye fatigue. So. For me, it's a much better choice. Oh, and also my multi-monitor setup with a Mac, since the computer itself is the CPU unit. It would be really hard to recreate my setup with all these monitors, I feel.
Hi.
Hey, Becky.
I just wanted you both to know the receipt for the Home Depot rigid box is in the, in the little box. If you want me to email it to you, I can.
You mean our mailbox?
No.
Yeah, your mailbox.
Okay. Would you like that, Steve? Would you like an email?
Why don't you email it to me, Becky?
Okay, I'll go grab it now.
So I can, okay.
Yeah. And Steve, Gail did take it with my signature, but she would prefer yours on the warrant. And they only took it last night because
Gail
the
Weiss.
credit card is running really tight, and we were trying to get it moving.
Oh, so did it go in on the warrant? Oh,
Yeah, it went in yesterday.
okay.
Yeah, it was paid for on the credit card.
But it's already, that's already been put on a warrant.
Yeah, it's already on the warrant.
Okay.
Sorry for making it confusing. I was just trying to keep it moving.
Okay. Who's 969? It's
Graham. Graham's 969. Oh, he's muted. Hold on.
Muted, Graham. Still muted.
Still can't hear you.
I had to two
Hey.
things. Okay. Hello all.
Hi.
Can't you read lips? Becky, I spelled your name wrong today. It was a typo. I'm gonna run and get my drink. Okay, don't worry. It's not alcoholic. Maybe there are no rules about that.
I don't think there's any rules.
I'm not sure how enforcement would work on that. No rules. They didn't write that one up, so. Where am I going?
Hello, Jim.
Gail, thank you for responding to me about that Temenos issue. I very much appreciate it.
My pleasure. I hope it works out for you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll give Graham and I something to do, among other things.
You guys and your chainsaws.
Well, it's back to the woods, you know. Today would have been a beautiful day for it. God, it's just beautiful
Yeah.
this afternoon.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll wait till it's an agenda. item. But Jim, I think you have a town waiver, don't you? For
Well-
chainsaws and such?
Yeah, well,
Or-
this is on Temenos land. This isn't, it's town land.
No, but
Or-
on town land, you did a waiver with me, right?
That's right, I did. Mhm. That was for that tree on the Southbrook path.
Yep, off
Which-
Lots Pond.
Yeah, off of Locks Pond Road.
Hello, Craig. So we'll wait a couple more minutes. I know Kent isn't coming, but nobody else has told me they're not coming.
Craig, that tree behind you looks like the one that came over and on January Hills Road and took out our fiber optic line.
Yeah,
It-
yeah, we love the view, but we do worry about it someday coming our way. We'll see.
Yeah. A lot of pine damage down
Yeah,
there.
that was impressive.
Yeah. It's a miracle it didn't damage the fiber, at least the fiber on the road.
Yeah.
Although, do you know the Capellis at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently what happened was that Andy Capelli, who's the son of the owner of the home, whom we met, Graham and I met when we were stringing the fiber up off, trying to get it up off the ground and roping it to trees. Andy said that they had lost power to their home, but not internet. And that was because on the two poles that go to their home off of January Hills Road, I think the address is 29 or 23.
Yep.
They were doing fine with the internet until the tree crew showed up. I don't know whether it was ABS or who it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the process of doing it, they took out our fiber and
Yep.
just snapped it. That was an unwelcome addition to the problem.
Interesting. When they built that house, there's that big wide opening of trees.
Yeah,
That used to be all wooded, and they cleared that whole path so they would have this grand entrance.
yes,
I don't know if that funneled the storm.
Oh, it
Well-
probably helped, didn't it? Yeah,
It probably
very
helped,
pine
yeah.
trees that weren't used to the wind.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it got the ones on either side of that opening,
Yeah.
especially on the southern or the southeastern side.
Yep.
And I mean, there was a lot of damage. I don't know, at least 10 big pines came over. And
The guys who were working on the trees when we walked by thought there were 27 trees that were.
27. Well, there you have it. Quite a display.
What they call a blowdown, yeah.
Definitely.
Hi, Harris. Hi, Frank.
Howdy.
All right, we'll just wait for Becky to get back, then we'll start.
Right here, I can hear.
Oh, okay,
I'm
great.
just having printer problems.
All right.
Sorry. Scanner problem.
No worries. All right, so first item of business is to approve the minutes from 9/16 that Jim sent around in the final draft. They look good to me. No changes. Does anyone else have any other changes or comments?
I would suggest that the word liability just be changed to maybe something less strict.
I did change that.
Oh, you did? Okay, then.
Yeah, I said, I softened that comment.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Because I talked to a few people about the town's responsibility with regard to trees. And not always 25 foot from the center line, because sometimes the course, like a river and a riverbed, drainage on one side or another has straightened out some roads, so they're not always, it's not always symmetric, number one. And number two, someone on the DPW I asked, and they said, yeah, we will clear trees that fall off the road. We don't have an absolute responsibility, because the utilities often have to do the primary clearing before we can even get our hands on stuff. But they certainly do if no one else comes and takes a tree off the road. They don't often go, they wouldn't bother to do anything about a tree on this, that fell, but wasn't blocking the road, but was still, you can have a tree falling in the woods. And if no one hears it or no one complains, the poem or whatever the philosophy. So, and the other thing that he said was the only liability that he could think of, this is a DPW person, was that if the tree warden had condemned a tree and had it tagged for elimination, and if that didn't happen in some reasonable period of time, no certified time. And even then, not necessarily the town's liability, because I remember maybe not Don Wakaluk, but Tom Houston used to first go to the utility to tell them about a tree that should be removed, and they often came along and did that because of his network of tree people. So you could have a liability, but it would be a lawsuit thing, and you'd have to be unlucky. Condemned trees could stand by the side of the road for a long time before they actually did any harm. So anyhow, there's the liability is pretty slim.
Yes, I think I changed the wording to partial response. Let me look it up. I can't remember what I did, but
complex relationship with.
I took out liability, thinking
okay.
that was a little too strong, and just said the town is partially responsible. I think. I think that's what I said.
You've addressed my concern. We wouldn't want to misinform anyone.
No, indeed.
I move we accept the minutes of September 16, was it?
Yep, that's it. And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I see unanimous hands. Thank you.
Becky's holding up a phone, but that doesn't. She's mute. She's mute anyhow.
All right. All right. Well, let's go to HUT report. Graham, take it away. I know you sent around a great email.
Yeah, that's
but
still
you
there.
can summarize.
I flipped over the HVACs as I usually do, and Jim and I unloaded the storage thing that now that get probably in the picture. You saw it. It's pretty much full. There's room for a few more. I think, Gail, I think you mentioned that the drop one, the two drops that are there are only 100 foot, and so we probably need a few more pizza boxes with maybe the longest version. So, but they'll fit in the box. The pain in the butt was getting the lock to fit, because the lock is a special lock. And Rigid make the box and Master Lock make the lock, and they didn't totally talk to each other. But anyhow, it's a little. It was had to be shimmed right to a very low tolerance to get it to work. And it was lucky I realized before I initially closed it, because there was the possibility that if I closed it initially, that it would have just closed and never been able to be open, and we'd have to drill our way back into
Oh,
our.
no.
Yeah. So it's not a great system. I've never seen a sight box locked like that on a site, because mostly sites are secure, or those site boxes are used in buildings, you know, in construction sites where you know there's webcams watching them and stuff. So so it's not a great lock device, but anyhow, it's good enough. Everything else okay on the hut. I didn't sweep it this month. Yeah.
Great. Well, hopefully the sweeping duties will reduce now that the traffic is going to reduce there.
That's right. Yeah, good point. Yeah, yes, less sand on the floor there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, big thanks to you guys for getting this done. I was looking at the meeting notes, and I think it's just great that at our last meeting, we made the decision to do this and that you executed in pretty much exactly 30 days. So good job getting it done.
Teamwork. Thank you, Becky,
Yeah.
for ordering it.
Sure.
Hopefully, Graham, did you get the lock returned? Okay, to
The Home Depot lock was initially wrong. So Becky, at some point or other, you'll get a credit against that order. I figure I've got 30 days. I hadn't rushed to take the lock back, but the first lock that they sent was just too big, and they solved it, you know, anyhow. So
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
yeah.
Well, were the two locks the same price?
I just went to Lowe's and bought.
okay. So
And
it'd be a
Lowe's,
credit.
yes, yeah, and I'll hand you a receipt at some point or other. The treasurer or whoever accepted the way we did it last time, Steve. So
Yep.
I'll fax you a URL.
Home Depot didn't have, in fact, Home Depot doesn't stock these locks, and that's what initially resulted in some sort of a delay before I could pick them all up. And so that's why we returned the one to Home Depot and went to Lowe's. Lowe's had plenty of stock on specifically on the lock that would work, or has been made to work thanks to Graham's efforts.
And just so you know, I'm hesitant to put on two locks just because there is too much of the risk that one of them will jam, especially when you consider in a cold weather, the length of the width of the steel cover could contract, and I don't know. Greg, do you know what the coefficient for shrinkage is on steel? But anyhow,
Not my kind of chemistry.
it doesn't have a lot of play, and it would be annoying to have to wait to spring till the lock till the yeah. But anyhow.
It's fine. I mean, if someone were to break in and
Yeah.
take this stuff, we're not talking about thousands of dollars worth of
But I think
things.
the turn
And
is the other way, Gail, that we wouldn't be able to get in at all.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm tempted to put a sign up that just says this area monitored by police. You know, it would be loosely true.
Yeah, the cruisers are parked in front of it right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would be silly to try and steal anything right now, wouldn't you? With the motion lights coming on, as you once pointed out, Becky, and the possibility, at least, of a webcam in the town hall building, you would think people would not want to mess with it. So
Yeah, we haven't had any issues for a long time.
yeah.
All right. Anything else for maintenance and service report? Graham, any thing outstanding in the service report this month?
There was only one that, well, the new guy, is it Tim Otto? Is that his name?
Tim Otto, yeah.
Yeah. I replied to him and thanked him for his report. He'd solved the problem of multiple duplicate listings, so that was good. He said that he's gonna that he's looking, or Matt Crocker is looking at adding a final column to their monthly report that says just what the resolution is on any problem. You know, just 3 words is all we need. You know. Often it's just answered question, you know, but Tim Otto didn't respond when I asked him for the monthly summary of our subscriber list. which Steve, you've got an interest in exactly the number of people last month who at the end of the month who were subscribed. And he didn't reply to that, which seemed a little worrying. I mean, that that he already was, but I'll wait until he ignores a few of my emails before I complain.
Is Tim the person that took IMA's place?
Correct.
Tim Otto is the new operations manager.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And did you say he's hired from within Crocker?
Correct.
So what had he been?
I believe maintenance.
Yeah, he has a more technical background than IMA did. So I do not know what his prior role is, just that it was something technical within the company.
And he said he'd had a bunch of jobs. So that was always, that's always a useful thing. If you see how the different, how many departments can they have? But he'd done a few jobs at Crocker. So that was over many years. So that was a good sign too, I thought.
What's his last name again?
Otto, O-T-T-O.
Okay.
Yep. Graham, I did note that you were going to check about HVAC maintenance needs. Did you get a chance to do that?
Yeah, as Steve pointed out, because there's not air being sucked in, it's not like a through the window air thing, because it's a heat pump and no air actually going through. The filters are not didn't strike me as an urgent thing, because there are no filters really that are getting very dirty. But there's some filtering, some air is moving in and on the outside. So I haven't got to that, but yeah.
Okay. No urgency. I'll just
such a busy month it was.
I know. I'll keep it on the reminder list.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave the question open and I'll look at the manuals because yeah.
Yep. Great. Yeah, speaking of busy months, so we had some weather events. At the beginning of the meeting, we were discussing before we officially began the issue at 29 January Hills. It was a customer that was out for 3 days. We also had a bunch of blowdown at the intersection of Round Hills there in January Hills. Graham and Jim went over and cleared a bunch of the downed trees, because what had happened was that our down distribution network fiber got trapped under a bunch of the down debris and it couldn't be fixed. If Triwire showed up, they couldn't get our wires out. So thanks to Graham and Jim for doing that chainsaw work. And I talked to Becky about the liability of that.
And then we pulled them back up onto the posts.
Yeah.
We pulled them up with ropes. So
yeah,
they get off the road.
Yeah, so that they would stop being driven over. That was good. So anyway, all of that is fine. Graham and Jim, we just need to make sure that we have one of the official waivers on file for that kind of work. I guess for the ice storm in 2008, the town has a special thing for this so that you know, if you cut off your leg, you don't sue or whatever.
Nikki,
So,
send me the form and I'll sign it.
Okay,
great.
thank you, Graham.
And we determined Jim already has one on file.
Yes.
Great. All right. Thanks. Another thing that happened in that area was that, according to the homeowner at 29 January Hills, Eversource took down our fiber. That after the storm, it was working. Eversource came to remediate the problem with the Esplenda tree contractors, took down a tree and also took down our fiber. So I'm still working on an insurance claim for that. As you can imagine, it is not a easy process. And so I will keep you posted. I don't have high hopes for that. I finally got in touch with the Eversource arborist who coordinates the efforts of all the tree people. And he had a kind of like off the books conversation with one of the guys who was on site. And he said, oh no, the tree had already come down and taken it, that it was already down when we got there. Contradicted the homeowner's story, which was everything was working fine until right after the tree people left. So
Can Crocker provide data that said they were providing service up until time X or anything like that?
Like they should be able to-
good question. That's a great
That-
point, Craig. Let me
That
ask.
certainly could be a
Yeah.
documentable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would need that to prove that the
Right.
tree hadn't just moved in the wind and dropped
Right.
further, yeah. It's got to be coincident with when they were there.
Right. Yeah, thanks. That's a good
At least
suggestion.
go after the storm, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was they didn't lose power and they didn't lose internet during the storm. It all happened after the remediation
Right.
by the
Hopefully
tree
Crocker can-
people.
Hopefully.
They probably lost power, right? I mean, no?
Nope. No.
What? Okay.
Yeah. The reason the tree folks came because there's a leaning tree against the wires, the electrical wires. So they called it in saying, hey, you got to come and take care of this. It's resting on the electrical wires.
Okay.
And so they had, everything was up until they had to cut the power to fix that. And then when the power came back on, the internet was gone.
Got it.
All right, other tree news. Tim apparently has worked with the town arborist to take care of some of the stuff on our list, and Becky is going to get the list of what was done and what wasn't done, so we can keep our
Yeah.
thing current. Yes.
Eric's on the phone and he's trying to be let into the meeting.
Oh, Eric, I didn't see you. I just admitted him.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can stop talking about him.
Holy.
Gail, I did get an update from Tim about the trees.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, go
Should
ahead.
I?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So he has the list from Don Wakaluk, and he's the one issue he has with it, there's a number of these trees that are not on town roads, like Lady Slipper, Lake Drive are all private roads.
Mhm.
So he wouldn't be taking care of those. And Market Hill in Amherst. But the other ones he said that he can do most of those after they do the Baker Road paving. I mean, the Pelham Hill paving. So in a week or two, they should be able to take care of the ones on the list that are on town roads.
Great, thank you. So when he's done, just send me the list of the completions and then we'll figure out a plan for the rest of them.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Eric, welcome. I'm so sorry that I didn't see you in the waiting room. Oh, you're muted.
No.
Sorry. Yeah,
There you
man.
go.
Hold on.
It's all right. I unmuted you. You're good. Oh, no, you muted yourself. Oh.
That's,
Huh. All right. Now I think we can hear you, Eric.
yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Okay, shut up now, Eric.
All right, now stop talking. Right, now we can stop talking.
All right, Steve, over to you for financial report.
Okay, well, our current balance by my calculations is 92,607. However, that does not include the cost of the box outside the hut, so
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit less than that. And we have receivables from Crocker. There's 39,756 due this month, and another 39,445 that I've just billed to them, which will be due next month. So it sounds like we've got quite a balance there building up, but just to keep it in perspective, next April, granted it's 6 months away, but we do have a debt payment due, or more accurately stated, the town has a debt payment due, which the MLP agreed to pay out of its revenue of 105,000. And we've also got 37,895 in our budget to go into our annual money we put into the broadband capital stabilization, which is the electronics reserve. So I'm just mentioning those two things so I understand that even though our regular monthly expenses are considerably less than our regular monthly income, we do also have these big one-time annual expenses. So, the balance will build up and up and up, and then a big amount goes out for the debt, and another chunk goes out for the capital stabilization.
And the big holiday party, Steve.
Oh,
Your money
the
for the holiday party.
yeah, okay. We weren't supposed to mention that,
Yeah.
Graham, but Graham, you mentioned about the number of subscribers. I take it off of the billing information, which we get from Crocker, and the current subscriber billing is 756 customers, 754 at the regular $52 a month MLP fee, and currently 2 at the $45 a month vacation fee.
So that detail that they give the full list, you don't necessarily need it or want it as a cross check. Is that what you mean?
Well, no harm in having additional data to do cross checking. So
it's not likely to be a question, but it would be interesting to have. Yeah, so I'll press Tim Otto for it, because it's interesting, I think, to know who all our specific subscribers are. Right, Gail? That makes sense to have the list.
It does. Yeah, we should keep redundant records there.
That 756 is what percentage of our total potential?
It's still hovering around 87.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the increase there from 750 up to 756, there's been new houses built in town. So I don't know as our percentage is increasing.
That's okay.
The percentage would be going up slightly with that, but I don't know that we've captured that many non-subscribers.
So Steve, the money you mentioned, the $78,000, those two $39,000 chunks are not included in that money you mentioned as what we have, right? We have that in addition. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Don't know if I quite follow you, Eric.
You said we had X number of dollars. I can't remember what the number was.
92,000. Yeah.
We have $39,000 due and $39,000.
Yeah.
So that first number does not include those second two numbers. Is that
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Becky?
Steve, is the first number that's due this month, is that for October or is that November?
The 39, those two figures. Okay.
Is it one November, one December, or is it October, November?
No, one of them is due in October and the next one's due in November. Crocker pays by the end of the month. So
that's actually revenue for September and October.
the money that we will be receiving at the end of October, boy, I'd have to open up the other spreadsheet now, but there's a significant lag in our
Right, so it
payment.
actually could be August, September.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay,
This is-
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, nice.
because they bill it in August. In September, mid-September, they will tell us how much that was after they've made, because they have their initial billing and then they make adjustments throughout the month for people that come on during the month, people that go off during the month. So there are all these little adjustments that are made. And so in the middle of September, they'll tell us, okay, here's the bottom line for September. I go over it, I sort the spreadsheets different ways to make sure the figures add up. And then I send them the bill in mid to late September. They take their 30 days and they'll pay it at the end of October. So yeah, they're paying at the end of October. A good chunk of that's revenue they got on the 1st of August. So
Hope they have a big interest at their bank account.
yeah,
They probably made 12 cents on that money.
they might, yeah. At least I have learned that when we get, you know, we get money from Crocker, but we also pay Crocker. They bill us every month for the backhaul, for the truck retainer, and for the maintenance. And I say, you know, I don't rush to get those checks out to them either. But
Right, we don't want to pay them any faster than they pay us. That would be my personal feeling.
that, yeah, I tend to follow that.
Have they got better at describing, Gail, do they send them to you, the repair invoices?
Not yet. They're still working on it. Their billing department is now involved with that to do a double check to make sure that they are correct. That's what they're working on. But we do have, I'm going to guess at this point, probably $10,000 worth of unpaid maintenance going back as far as April.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a significant bill coming to us probably next month. So
Yeah, the only maintenance bills on the current bill that I got from them were for new installations, which is very straightforward.
Sure.
So, all right, I'll move into manager report here. So we already talked about the fact that Tim Otto has taken over for IMA as the new operations manager. I met with him for the first time this week, and I've set up a weekly meeting every Wednesday with him because there's just too many things that are slipping through the cracks, and we need better oversight. So I explained all this to him, and my hope is that once he gets his sea legs under him and starts taking over some of this, that he and I can reduce to once every other week and then maybe even once a month. But for now, it's weekly until he takes care of some of these outstanding things. And also just overall improvement in customer service, that it just needs to get better. I've asked for visibility into all dispatches so that I know what's happening. What I realized during that last storm is that there's someone on our team needs to know what's been called in and what's going out, because otherwise there's way too much of that back and forth, like trying to coordinate like the tree work that Jim and Graham are doing. Was the truck on its way? Was it urgent? Did they need to get out there? So Tim is going to look into some way to keep me copied on all dispatches, whether it be a residential, you know, just a drop issue or a distribution issue, so that we have some better visibility into what exactly is going on for maintenance and fixes.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're a point person, that'd be good, because yeah, I'm very hesitant to call anything in because it just gets like, you know, complicated very quickly. So,
yeah.
The other thing is, as we've kind of noticed, the cables that go to the ground, or even in Montague Road where they don't go to the ground, where something's broken, we have to emphasize to various town departments, and Becky, maybe you're the liaison, the best liaison, that the town, you know, that we won't hear about stuff on the ground if it's working, and yet it could be, you know, get seriously damaged or even causes a liability with getting, you know, snagged on something. And so
I can talk to Walter and
to be Walter, the
Yeah,
police
yeah.
also, police chief should know
department.
that we have an interest. Someone mentioned that they told the police chief something, and he said, well, that's a utility thing. And, you know, we kind of like, and we thought about it afterwards and thought, well, yeah, he's got to know that we are also the utility now. So we've got an interest there.
And who should they contact?
Always, I'd say, Gail, talk to you. I mean, we don't want them talking to Crocker about something that they're not, that there's a problem, but we probably, I mean, Gail, what should they do?
Yeah, I would, yeah, have them contact, well, here's a question, Becky. Do they prefer phone calls or emails? What's their, what would be the fastest for them, do you think?
Well, if they're on Montague Road, they can try to text.
Right.
You're not at the other end of a radio. They're mostly using radios,
Yeah.
and cell phones.
Yeah,
And
we only need to hear. Yeah, we only need to hear soon. We don't need to hear the moment, because the utility work often gets precedence, and we don't want to rush. We wouldn't want to rush Crocker out there to have them just try wire just sitting around for 6 hours while the utility waiting for the electric utility. But yeah, it's good for us to know that something's happened or something's on the ground, because yeah.
Then they could email.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
call.
Basically, we want to know anytime there's any kind of major event with a utility line, and if our line is on the ground, those two things are what we want to know. And so, yeah, they can just email broadband@shutesbury.org, and then depending on what they say, I'll figure out whether to contact Crocker about it or send out our field crew to go look to see if there might be a problem locally. All right.
Dale, you don't think that the police or Walter should contact either me or maybe Graham directly on this? There might be a good reason to get out there as soon as possible. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty situational, because it might be something like, oh, the transformer blew, and that it doesn't really matter for us, but it's helpful to know. Or if there's something on the ground, then we might need to go and look at it. Or if it's an obvious, cut in our wire, it's a, they can see that it's sliced in half, that it would be Crocker should already know about it. So it would be a follow-up with Crocker to be like, hey, did you get this notification that there's a problem with our distribution network and our crew's on the way? So I just I just don't want to complicate it for them, Jim, of for them having to contact multiple people and then have a back and forth with other entities. So let's try this. If it doesn't work, another thing I could do is set up an email relay where anything coming in from fire, police to the Shutesbury email address automatically goes out again.
Okay.
So, if I'm away or if I'm sleeping, it would still go through.
You don't sleep, do you?
I was gonna say.
These days I sleep a lot. There's nothing going on. It's rather nice.
Yeah, because currently when Crocker gets a call about this, they notify Graham, Jim, and I about this. And so I think it'd be the same thing, have a minimum, have a central location. So Gail, you can look at it. Yeah, if you see it's West Pelham Road, send me an email, give me a call, and I'll go out and check it. If it's up Jim's way, let him know. If it's up Graham's way, let him know.
You guys have spaced each other out very nicely in town, by the way. Good job with that.
Important to get the right membership in a committee, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, the big one is the silent ones where the cable's on the ground or something weird happened to the cable, but like it got fried, but everybody's still got service. So, though tonight is the night, right? Is that what I saw on Nextdoor for your repair, the spliced repair?
Yep, they're finally going to splice the Montague Road issue and take care of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you are on Nextdoor Shutesbury, but it was, oh my God. It was,
Back and forth.
ah.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
happened was that there's this repair on Montague Road, and they scheduled for the 22nd, and they did the right thing. And they only sent an email to the residents of Montague Road saying, you're going to have an internet outage on the 22nd. Someone trying to be helpful posted on Nextdoor saying, there's going to be a system-wide internet outage. Because it did not specify it was only Montague Road. The people who got it didn't know it was only coming to them.
Yeah.
So it goes out on Nextdoor. There's a firestorm of
Oh,
of emails. I got emails. I got some phone calls of like, why are you doing this? It's a presidential debate. You're breaking our civil laws
Oh.
or something by doing this. And so I kind of Crocker said, you know, you need to not do this. It happened mostly over a weekend, of course. So Crocker said, okay, we'll change it. We'll change it. And then, so they sent out a correction, but again, the correction only went to certain people, and other people said, I never got it. I never got it. So finally I got in touch with Andrew on the phone because I realized the, you know, us trying to communicate over email was not working. And I found out, oh, it only affects Montague Road. This is why there's all this confusion about it. So anyway, he sent out a third email saying this only affects Montague Road. I posted all over Nextdoor. I sent emails out to everyone with who had emailed me with the correction. So in the future, any outage that is planned maintenance, he's going to run the message by me first.
Good.
And let me know that it's happening in advance. If any questions or things happen on Nextdoor, I know exactly what's happening and can respond appropriately. And I can go over the messaging. They're very bad at writing these communications that go out. You know, they're just not good at it yet. So hopefully with some coaching, they'll get better. But in the meantime, I'm like, you cannot send anything out without me looking at it first, because it causes too much confusion and panic and et cetera for everyone.
You want to run the wording by me, Gail? I can work on that too.
Thank you, because you know, although I get the wording right, my typos are horrendous. Oh, yeah.
On this issue, it is really important that you communicate with the town. I know you and I did not communicate directly. I ended up going straight to Crocker.
Mhm.
The issue for us is we're scheduling Zoom meetings. We have many of them. Some of them are critical meetings, you know, for the school committee and different people. And we really need to have a heads up as soon as you have anything like this, so we can reschedule, because we only have a 48-hour window to try to reschedule stuff. So it's critical that you let us know right away.
Yeah, for any, I will do that, Becky. One part of my process is that when I hear from Crocker, I will check in with you too and say, hey, they're scheduling maintenance for this time. Is this going to work okay?
That'd be great.
Before it's like locked in.
Yeah.
They will let us know a 10-day advance before any maintenance happens. So unless it's an emergency situation, there will be no situation where it's like, oh, you know, tomorrow night this is happening.
It's just that we also have a lot of meetings that take, like Concom is meeting with the engineers who have been scheduled for 2 months, so, we need to know right away.
I will.
Another problem.
Yeah, another thing is our contract stipulates that 10-day lead time. Plus, it also stipulates it has to happen between midnight and 6 a.m. So
do it.
Yeah, and so this was a special case where they really wanted to get this Montague Road fix done now, because it's been lingering, and they couldn't get the splice crews, so they just need to do it. But yeah, I'll keep you in the loop for future ones.
So
I got some attention too on that one.
Yeah, I bet.
So when is it actually happening now? Tonight?
It's tonight at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Graham, you going out to look? No?
No, I later just decided that if I've got so many scraps of interesting pieces of fiber that I didn't need another one.
Okay.
I think I send everyone the picture. It looked like spaghetti. No.
Yeah, it was great.
Mm.
All right. Other things. Okay, so this is the something that's been not exactly keeping me up at night, but very worrisome, and that is that our inventory of repair and drop supplies is dangerously low. We have 3 ONTs left. Crocker does not know if they work. I guess they just kind of found them in their warehouse, and so they're going to run some tests if they work, but we have no other ONTs. They've been begging Calix to send a new box, and Calix said, yeah, we'll send you some in January.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Tim Otto has been working with them, and they think they can get a box of 10 next week to tide us over. And we have another 20 on back order. The other thing that we're out of is lots of drop lengths. We have one poor household that's been waiting. They moved into Shutesbury and they've been waiting since June to get an installation. We have short drop lengths like the 100 and 150s, but we do not have the needed lengths for this particular household, which is 250 feet. So it's, according to Tim, it's a COVID issue. Manufacturing has been interrupted, and also supplies have been interrupted. And then on top of it, internet is booming all over the country. So these 3 things are causing this massive supply shortage. Tim is going to look into who is waiting on an installation. I know of that one drop that's a 250 that's been waiting since June, and see if there's anybody else, because I don't know if there's anybody else who's been waiting. Give me the links, and then I'm going to call Westfield Gas and Electric and call in all my favors and say, can you please just give us a couple of these to get us through? He is already calling around with other suppliers. We normally work with Corning to get these, to see if there's anybody else who can supply
Gail,
them.
is it the MSTs that are not? Is it the MSTs that we're waiting on then, or it's actually the drop that goes from the MS to the ONT? Is it?
Right. It's the pre-connectorized drop. So what I also, another idea I had was, we have that 6,000 foot reel of 12 fiber that we could splice in, not the cheapest option, but to get these folks through you. So we'd use that 12 strand and only use one of the fibers. Basically, we'd be using this distribution network as a drop. And splice it in, because it obviously doesn't come with the pre-connectorized ends. So Otto is going to get me a price from Tri-Wire, and like, what if we did this? What if we did this? The getting new installations is one concern. I just feel horrible for these poor families who haven't had internet. Welcome to Shutesbury. You can have internet, but you have to wait 6 months. But what
to anybody else like New Salem, if they're using the same connectors, if they have?
Well, their suppliers are all Westfield, so that's who we would go. That's who we would go to beg, borrow, and steal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. The thing that is most concerning to me about this is that if we have a drop issue, we can't fix it. Right? That if a tree, well, I have underground, but let's say I didn't, if I had an aerial and a tree came down, I might get a call from Crocker saying, sorry, your internet went down and we can't fix it for 4 months because we don't have the supplies.
If we have a bad storm now, this is the problem.
This is so bad. It's so bad. So anyway, I'm really hoping that the splicing can get us through. Graham, from a technical standpoint?
Yeah, I was going to say, the probably the easiest way that doesn't mess up something in the long term is in nearly every splice case that is up on the poles, there's 1, 2, or 20 spare fibers, unused fibers that are uncommitted. and those would be, you would do what they call a ring splice into. You'd pick up one of them, and then you would just have to patch it back at the hut to liven up that spare that spare fiber. And that would have no long-term consequence when the MST, when you had sufficiently long drop for the MST, then you haven't disturbed the MST at all. So so that would be, yeah, you know, I mean, if you tell me what the address is of the crowd who are waiting, I could look and see if there's spare fibers in their nearest fiber case.
But how does that get
Yeah, I don't
to the house?
understand how that helps.
How does it what?
How does it get it to the house? I thought the problem was we didn't have the drop long enough.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you see, the thing that's hard to, the thing that is the problem is the funny plug that goes into the MST, I think. That's the, at the ONT end or at the NID end, there's just a standard MP connector. And, you know, and you may or may not have seen your installing guy, if he didn't have a pre-connectorized thing, he just spliced an MP connector onto it at the NID. So the NID end is not a problem. And if one runs there's a cable reel at the opposite the DPW that looks like it also, the smallest reel looks like it might have hundreds of feet on it as well. That might work for this stuff, but anyhow, so that's how it works, Steve. The MP connector at the NID is just spliced on with a fusion splicing thing, and at the other end, it's also fusion splicing into an existing splice case onto a fiber that was just sitting there as called spare, and the spares in the splice cases, which are throughout the town, they go back to the hut as well. But they're not. They're not patched at the to the calyx gear. So we'd have to put in a patch cable there too.
So Graham, let me just understand then. Is there an issue with splicing the type of connector needed at the MST onto a piece of this spare cable that we've got on a reel?
Yeah, you don't want to splice into the MST because that'll mess up the MST.
No, but on the putting the type of connector onto this spare cable we've got that would plug in.
I was going to look up. I'm not sure what sort of connector that is. Okay. I don't know. It's possible that there's a way of field splicing them on. I realized when I heard you were sometime back, Gail, say that we were short of supplies. I did wonder about that thing of, can one put one of those connectors on in the field? You may well. I don't know what it's called exactly, and I don't know whether you can do it in the field.
What about not in the field? So here's another idea I had. What if we can make homemade pre-connectorized drops using, you know, a 12 or a 96 or whatever fiber, where, you know, we have I have no idea how this is done, but they add on the pre-connectorized ends to it, splice it in, and all of a sudden we have a drop with no field splicing needed because it has the spliced connectors on both ends. Does that make sense?
Like I said, there's no issue at the NID. That's an easy. I saw a guy put one on in 5 minutes. So, you know.
Okay.
So that's not, and it was in the rain. He had to hold an umbrella while he did it. So, you know, so the NID is no problem, and you never want to constrain. It's better not to constrain it because then you've got a fixed length and you've got to do something with the tail and all sorts of stuff. So the NID, no problem. So it's just the question of, can you pre-connectorize the thing that plugs into the MST? I don't know. I can look it up. I'm sure, and I will. MST.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Like I said, Tim is looking into this too, but I don't know how much he knows about field construction. Says because I don't know how much Crocker builds of their own, no matter what positions he's had there. So that'd be great. If Triwire doesn't come back with any ideas, I may put you in touch with someone at Triwire, if that's okay, to like talk them through how it could be done.
That's a very good, that would be a way for, yeah, just get them to, I'll meet them in the field, and we can look at the cut sheet and say, you know, what it looks like is in the splice case, and can we use whatever, you know, so yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay, thanks.
So the first thing I'll do is I'll look at the MST spec and see what the connector is, and see if that can be field connectorized, because that would be the easiest solution.
Great. What I would even go for is for them to, if these supply issues are like, if we really are not going to get things until like December or January, then I would have them pre-make some super long ones, you know, with the ends needed, or like one end of it, you know, like and then when it's needed for repair, just go in, cut it, and then do it at the NID side.
Yep.
Okay.
Graham, do we have a fairly good inventory of that Corning-like fiber? In other words, what is customarily used for drops left over from the Triwire installation?
I don't think we have any of that. All
No,
we
we
have,
don't.
well, all we have is, but we
Well-
can use distribution fiber for this, and just use one of the X number of fibers that's in the bundle.
Yeah, Certex didn't leave reels of anything around, as far as I know. So Triwire did, but Certex, what they used, they weren't leaving it around.
Yeah, because don't they sell you know, fiber of the sort that is used in drops, you know, by the reel, you know, maybe a 10,000-foot reel or something like that? I'm just guessing. I don't know.
I'm sure that they do, and I don't know if we could get that.
Yeah, because if we bought a spare reel of the stuff, then we could splice to our heart's content, just cut and splice.
Right. I'd be reluctant to get a whole reel in with the premise that this is going to be a temporary solution. Like, you know, we are every time I drive by the shed and I see all those reels, I'm like, oh, how wasteful. So I don't really want any more reels lying around. If we can use the distribution network is super sturdy. It'll fit the bill. It'll get the job done.
Yeah. Okay.
So as long as we can splice to it.
Okay, I'll find out that answer, and having a couple of spares that are excessively long, then they can cut them to the right length. So
Yeah.
I'll get back to you all.
Thank you so much, Graham. And Jim, you don't have any ONTs laying around, do you?
I have the defective one that came from Amanda's place sitting here, which sort of works, but you know, it was problematic. Now, if it was an emergency and we didn't have a single one, then maybe we could sort of temporarily use this, but it isn't in perfect working condition.
Okay, thanks. I will let you know if we have to put it to use.
And Gail, I saw one that I put in the storage box that was brand new, as far as.
Oh, there is one there. Okay.
So that in that list
Just
of
one.
the email I sent today, I listed the things that I saw, and there was at least one ONT.
Okay.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize it was shorter. I would have looked to count them more carefully.
There were two, but I took the one that was used for Amanda Alex's repair.
Okay, yeah, that's why I wondered. I kind of remembered. Oh, I saw one, and but yeah, it makes sense. There was two. And the other thing is to know that they could always steal the ONT from the hut, because it's only a telephone that's plugged into that, right?
The
Nothing
whole
else.
security system needs
Oh,
it.
the Simply
Oh.
Safe. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no, God, let's grab that idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could take the one that I have, the defective one, because that I'm sure the RJ11 POTS port works just fine on that. It's probably, so we could switch that out in an emergency and use the one that's in the hut. That's a possibility.
Okay. Well, let's see if Calyx can get us that box
Yeah.
of 10 next week, and if they can. So I will let Tim know that there's one ONT in the new orange box that we know of.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little disconcerting to me that he said we had none, because they just inventoried all of those hut materials.
Huh.
So I will see what's
Yeah.
going on with that.
Oh, they did. You mean they looked in the hut and gave an inventory? Can you send me a copy of what they said what the inventory was?
I never got it, but I can ask for it. And
Oh, yeah, you
May,
can always,
yeah, it
That's
was done right before IMA left.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And they
Well, absolutely an ONT, one ONT in a box.
Okay.
and they don't have any supplies out in Greenfield that aren't out for here.
Well, it was weird. They said, we think we have 3, but we don't know if they were returned as defective or if they work.
Terrific.
Yeah. So, yeah, I expressed my displeasure at the whole situation that they didn't keep track of things to begin with, and that they didn't keep us informed at all. Like when there was a shortage, like, you know, I should have known about this months ago. So really disappointing. Let's see, we talked about their billing invoices needing more information that they are working on. And I also floated the idea of a customer survey by Tim Otto. And he suggested that we send out one now to all customers and another one in 3 to 6 months when have made some changes on their side to their hiring more technicians and how they handle issues. My sense is that people are really not happy with them. I don't know if my view is skewed just because of the loud complaining voices on Nextdoor Shutesbury that tend to be more negative than positive. You know, you rarely don't get someone posting saying, "Oh, wow, I just got this great experience." It's usually the opposite of how unhappy somebody is. So I don't know if I have a bias there. But anyway, I would love any of your input on which kind of questions that we should ask in the survey. So I have a draft of that going. I'll send around a Google Docs link to it. Feel free to add, edit, comment on the questions that I've come up with to make them better, to see if we can really target just like the actual items that Crocker should do to do improvements.
So how would this go out? Do we have an email for all of our customers? And so is this going to come from the Shutesbury MLP, or is it coming from Crocker?
Undecided yet.
Yeah.
The first step is to get, I think, is to get all the questions of like what we want to do, and then we'll figure out what survey platform to use for it, and then who sends it out. I'm not sure yet if it should come from us, if people would be more transparent if they knew it was coming from us than Crocker, or if it should come from Crocker themselves so that they take ownership of it, saying, "Hey, we want to know how we're doing. Please, let us know." But,
we should own the survey device, the survey and the data, right?
Yes, we'll get the information no matter what, no matter who sends it or what platform it is. So we can decide that after the questions are figured out of the logistics of who sends it. Everyone who has a billing account set up with Crocker has an email address, except for a handful of people who don't do email, like our like 2 phone only customers.
Processing a big survey, of course, could entail a fair bit of work, couldn't it?
Oh, that's Gail's expertise.
It's a good time.
This is tiny compared to what she does.
Yeah, well, it's if you design the survey and the questions right, it's actually not that big of a lift. you know, if you're, the questions that you use are more gradient based
Sure.
of like, you know,
One to
good,
10.
fair, excellent, bad, that you can tabulate the results fairly quickly with that. It's the open-ended questions, the comments that take a lot of time to process because you can't do anything with them electronically.
Yep.
So. Let's see. Oh, we made some progress on that surety bond petition. So the letter was signed by the select board on Friday. I had a very nice conversation with Natalie Blay about it, and she said she would support it fully and wholeheartedly. So she's writing a support letter, or maybe just signing the letter I sent to her and asked her to sign. We don't know. And so that I will put those together and send them to the DTC. And then that'll get us rolling with, goes to a, like a docket hearing that they hold. And so we'll get a date for that. And if it's helpful, I will ask my counterparts in the other towns to also write letters of support as to give it some extra weight. So big thanks to Graham for helping with the letter on that one. And he did a lot of great back and forth with me. And I think we have a really nice legally sounding letter that the DTC can take action on. All right, that is everything on my list. Does anybody have anything else? All right. Next meeting is November 18th. That's not Thanksgiving, is it?
No,
No. Okay,
a week
Great.
away.
great.
Didn't Thanksgiving get canceled this year? Is that?
Oh, you're right.
No, trick or treating is canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Everything's canceled this year.
Gail,
Yeah.
who did that, the letter about the surety bond issue went to whom in the state?
Hasn't been sent yet. It will be sent in the beginning of November to DTC, the Department of Telecommunications and Cable.
Okay. Just getting that down.
Sure. All right, Jim, any other meeting notes, questions, clarifications?
No, I mean, I'll go over it. I'll probably have a few of them once because this has had a lot of complicated details in it tonight, so.
Yeah.
And-
If you get stuck on anything, just feel free to put a little highlight or say something like fill in here, and then when you send it around, we can all fill in the details.
Okay.
If you can't remember, so don't
Okay,
don't worry about getting them perfect.
okay.
Okay. All right, everyone. Have a good month.
All right.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone, with storms and winds and such.
Elections.
It'll be after the election when we next see each other.
Oh gosh, I hope it'll be calm. We'll
I
just
might be
like
coming in from a distant place. We'll see.
less anxiety. Let's hope so.
Greg, I love your vote thing just above. It keeps on making me want
Yes.
to go out and vote again.
Yeah.
But vote early and often. That's what we do in
Yep.
Chicago.
I think you can only vote twice, you're Republican.
Yes, that's true. All right.
All right. Good luck, everyone. Bye.
Bye.